The moment the world thought it knew the story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, everything shifted. Imagine this, a lavish mansion tucked into the sun-soaked hills of Montecito, California, the kind of place most people only see in magazines. A couple once adored by millions, living a fairy tale life away from the relentless glare of royal scrutiny. It was supposed to be their sanctuary, a haven where love could breathe freely, far from the royal spotlight and the suffocating expectations of the palace. But what if I told you that this sanctuary was about to become the stage for a confrontation so shocking, so personal, that it would leave the entire world stunned? What could possibly make Prince Harry, a man celebrated for his calm charm and diplomatic instincts, lose control to the point of kicking Meghan Markle out of their home and demanding the return of her wedding ring? Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It sounds like something out of a tabloid fever dream. And yet, insiders insist this is happening right now. Not in whispers, not behind closed doors, but in a way that will ripple across social media, news outlets, and royal circles simultaneously. To understand why this story matters, we need to go back, just a little, and see the life they built in Montecito. The sprawling mansion, hidden security, and private gardens weren't just signs of wealth. They were symbols of escape. Escape from public scrutiny, from the press, from the judgment of a royal institution that never seemed ready to accept Meghan fully. For months, the narrative was simple, a fairy tale life in exile, complete with charity appearances, a carefully curated public image, and an aura of calm domesticity. But calm is a fragile illusion, and illusions rarely survive the storm of reality. Now, imagine the scene. Inside that mansion, behind the walls where laughter was supposed to echo, tensions simmered. There were whispers of disagreements, subtle arguments over trivialities that, when compounded, began to feel like earthquakes. Friends close to the couple spoke of late-night conversations where voices were raised, where frustration boiled beneath the surface. You might ask, why would a couple who seemed so united unravel so dramatically? What could possibly push Harry to take the unprecedented step of demanding something so intimate, a wedding ring, to be returned? The answer, it seems, is as complex as it is explosive. Let's pause for a moment and consider the symbolism here. A wedding ring is not just jewelry. It's a token of promises made, of vows spoken in front of witnesses, of a bond that was meant to withstand the pressures of fame, fortune, and familial expectations. For Harry to demand its return is more than anger, it's a declaration. It's a statement that the foundation of trust and commitment has been shaken, perhaps beyond repair. And while the public will inevitably focus on the sensationalism of the act, the kicking out, the return of the ring, the deeper story is about betrayal, miscommunication, and the fragile dynamics of a relationship that has always been under a microscope. But before we get ahead of ourselves, it's important to frame why this matters right now. In a world obsessed with instant news, with every text, every glance, every social media post dissected to the last pixel, the timing of this fallout couldn't be more dramatic. The royal family, still recovering from previous scandals, is once again at a crossroads. Media outlets are scrambling for angles. Social media influencers dissect every photograph, every expression, as if the nuances of body language could reveal the secrets of a fractured marriage. And the public, hungry for insight into a relationship they once idolized, watches with bated breath. Every detail leaks like a drop of ink into water, slowly spreading and staining the narrative with speculation, rumor, and undeniable fascination. Let's talk about the lead-up to this explosive moment. Sources close to the couple reveal that what seems like a sudden confrontation had been brewing for weeks. It began with disagreements over public appearances, the timing of interviews, and conflicting advice from advisors. Subtle actions, like choosing who sits where during charity galas, or whose voice is heard more prominently in decision-making, slowly escalated into tension that could no longer be contained behind closed doors. Arguments over money, staff, and even the decor of the home became battlegrounds for control. It's a narrative familiar to anyone who's watched relationships disintegrate under pressure, but magnified to a scale where every minor conflict becomes a global headline. And then there were the messages, texts, and private communications that, to an outside observer, might seem inconsequential, but to insiders were incendiary. Words carefully chosen, then misinterpreted, then weaponized. One text, one seemingly harmless comment, became the spark that ignited a confrontation Harry apparently could not ignore. Imagine reading a message from someone you trusted implicitly, only to feel a wave of betrayal so powerful that it propels you to take drastic action. That is reportedly the emotional state that led to the demand, return the wedding ring. And yet, even this act, shocking as it is just one layer of a story that continues to unravel with each passing day. Now, let's consider Meghan's perspective. To be told, effectively, that you must leave the home you share, the life you built together, is traumatic. The return of the wedding ring is more than symbolic. It's a public declaration of disapproval, a moment that forces introspection, humiliation, and perhaps anger. Sources describe her response as a mixture of shock, disbelief, and strategic defiance. She is reportedly weighing her options, trying to navigate both the personal betrayal and the public narrative that will inevitably follow. But what choice does she have when confronted with the fury of someone she once called a partner, a confidant, and a friend? How does one process a rejection so intimate, so public, yet so personal? And this is where the story truly grabs attention. The narrative is not just about Harry and Meghan. It's about power, perception, and the fragile threads that hold relationships together when under extreme scrutiny. Imagine being unable to trust your every word or action, knowing that friends, staff, and media will interpret it, leak it, and weaponize it. Imagine the pressure of maintaining composure while your home, your sanctuary, becomes a stage for one of the most dramatic confrontations in modern royal history. It is here, in this crucible, that the stakes are highest and the consequences are most profound. The public has already begun to speculate, as you might imagine. Headlines scream, social media explodes with opinion, and commentators dissect body language like forensic analysts. But beyond the spectacle lies a deeper truth. Even the most seemingly glamorous lives are susceptible to breakdowns, betrayals, and explosive moments. What we are witnessing is not just a royal scandal. It's a human story of love, anger, and the devastating consequences when trust is broken. And while the world watches for the dramatic gestures, the kicking out, the ring, the confrontation, the real drama is the unraveling of a relationship under pressure, magnified by fame, wealth, and expectation. So why are we talking about this now? Timing, in this case, is everything. Sources indicate that the confrontation has only recently occurred, meaning the fallout is still fresh, the emotions still raw, and the next move still unpredictable. The palace is reportedly watching closely, advisors are scrambling, and both Harry and Meghan's teams are preparing for an onslaught of media attention. Every decision, every step, every word matters more than ever. And in a world where narratives are shaped instantly, where one leak can define public perception for years, the stakes could not be higher. But the story does not end here. In fact, the introduction is only the surface, the prelude to a saga filled with shocking twists, betrayals, and revelations. Sources hint at conversations that will challenge everything we thought we knew about the couple, decisions that will alter alliances, and moments of emotional intensity that few could have anticipated. There are secrets waiting to be revealed, alliances tested, and consequences that will echo long after the dust settles. And the most shocking part? What seems like a straightforward confrontation over a wedding ring is actually the tip of an iceberg, an entry point into a complex web of relationships, power struggles, and private grievances that have been simmering for months. By the end of this video, you will understand why this incident is not just a personal drama. It's a seismic event with cultural, familial, and emotional ramifications. You will see why the world is captivated, why insiders are speaking out, and why the next steps of Harry and Meghan's relationship could redefine the narrative for years to come. But before we get there, we must start at the beginning. The seemingly perfect life in Montecito, the illusions of harmony, and the subtle cracks that hinted at the storm ahead. Because the truth, as you will soon discover, is far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. And just when you think you understand the dynamics, A twist will emerge that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. This is the story of love under pressure, of power and betrayal, of secrets and revelations. And it all starts with a single, seemingly innocuous object, a wedding ring. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. What would it feel like to live in a house that everyone else envies? To wake up every morning with the sun spilling over the hills of Montecito, knowing the world is watching, yet believing, just for a moment, that you're free. That was the illusion Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lived with. The mansion was enormous but intimate, sprawling but secretive. Every window seemed to capture the perfect California light. Every garden corner was meticulously manicured, every room designed to feel both luxurious and lived in. Outsiders only saw the Instagram-perfect version. Laughter on the terrace, cozy family dinners, charity work dressed up in elegance. But behind closed doors, the picture was far less serene. The calm that outsiders assumed existed was a veneer, a carefully curated illusion that masked tension simmering quietly, like lava beneath an otherwise pristine volcano. For months, neighbors and casual observers described a couple that seemed harmonious, even content. They'd drive past, see the sun glinting off the windows, the kids playing in the yard, and whisper about how lucky they were. Lucky? Maybe. But luck isn't what keeps a relationship together under extraordinary pressure. Privately, those closest to the couple noted subtle cracks, small disagreements over schedules, tone, decision-making, and priorities. Sometimes the smallest disagreements are the most telling. A question about dinner plans, a disagreement over a charity event, even the way the garden was arranged became symbols of underlying friction. The calm, in reality, was fragile, and it didn't take much for that surface to crack. Imagine the tension of trying to build a life in constant observation. Every move, every choice scrutinized by the public and press, every misstep amplified into a headline, every personal moment dissected on social media. The pressure of fame isn't just about attention, it's about control. Harry and Meghan had sought autonomy in Montecito, believing that distance from London and the royal institutions would shield them from scrutiny. But in truth, freedom doesn't erase scrutiny, it just changes its form. Here, the scrutiny was subtler, more insidious. Whispers from staff, carefully chosen words in private meetings, casual comments overheard and remembered. It was a pressure that builds over time, invisible to outsiders, but crushing in its quiet intensity. Sources close to the couple described their early days in Montecito as idyllic but intense. There were moments of joy, yes. Sunny mornings by the pool, laughter echoing through the halls, quiet evenings with the kids. But there were also moments of friction that grew sharper with each passing week. Some disagreements were about logistics, who would attend which event, when, and how the media would be allowed access, what statements should be made. Other disagreements cut deeper. Differing approaches to family, trust, and personal boundaries. Every day, what seemed minor at first became significant, every small tension compounding into something neither could fully control. And then there were the staff. Those hired to create comfort and security sometimes became silent witnesses to conflicts that outsiders would never imagine. Housekeepers, chefs, security personnel, they saw the subtle signs. The way Harry's jaw tightened when Meghan mentioned a particular project, the way Meghan's smile flickered when Harry disagreed with a suggestion. Observers described the energy as charged, a feeling that anything could ignite an argument. The calm that Montecito symbolized was, in truth, a fragile bubble, and cracks had begun to appear. It was during one quiet afternoon that the first real spark appeared. A disagreement over a seemingly trivial matter, a charity gala. Sources say Meghan wanted to attend a high-profile event to solidify her public image, while Harry preferred to stay closer to home, protect the children, and avoid media frenzy. The disagreement escalated. Not in front of the children, but behind closed doors, in the private sanctum of the house. Words were exchanged, voices raised. Harry, typically measured and composed, reportedly lost his patience, while Meghan, usually confident and poised, pushed back in ways that challenged him emotionally. It was a test of boundaries, loyalty, and influence, one that neither would back down from. Observers who spoke to friends of the couple claimed that tension had been brewing for weeks before this incident. Other disagreements over the layout of the home, staffing decisions, even minor financial choices, had contributed to a growing sense of frustration. And when combined with the pressures of fame and public scrutiny, the atmosphere became electric. Every small interaction carried weight, every decision had consequences, and every look was analyzed for meaning. At the same time, the world saw only perfection. Public appearances, interviews, and curated social media posts maintained the illusion. It's easy to forget that relationships, no matter how public or private, exist in two realities, the one the world sees and the one the participants live in. In Montecito, the disparity between these two realities was growing, silently, day by day, until even the smallest spark could ignite a fire.